It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
Welcome back to SportSense. This is the place where we're making sense out of sports for idiots, cretins, fools, and other people who don't know much about sports but want to be able to talk about it. If you're looking for a good Southern accent tonight, I'm so sorry. You're not going to get it unless these guys have acquired one in their time in North Carolina. But I have with us here a couple subs. It takes multiple people to make up for Daddy Epps. And we got here my brother-in-law, Chris Swank. He's been on the show before. Say hello, Chris.
Hey, everybody.
And how much do you like basketball?
I love basketball.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then you're in good shape for this episode. But the question is if you love basketball more than our next guest, Ryan Victory. Welcome to the show.
As a Detroit Pistons fan, I've been through thick and thin. I don't think anyone loves basketball quite as much as a Pistons fan. We just love the pain. Happy to be here.
Well, welcome. Yeah, I honestly forgot the Pistons were even a team.
I feel like the Pistons fans, we stick to Detroit. Haven't lived in Detroit for a long time, but we are, I would say that we are not taken extremely seriously and haven't been for quite some time. So I don't know if there's a good comp. So, I mean, who's a, relegated, forgotten, member of a bygone era of respect? Whatever fits into that slot, you can put us there, I think.
Like Bengals in the NFL or something?
No, the Bengals have been relevant too recently, Cooper. I would definitely say maybe this is maybe a stretch, but the Oakland Athletics, they had their dynasty, they had their prime, right? But they're
that on.
Is that a baseball?
So bad right now.
That's a baseball team.
Baseball, yeah. Or they're not even Oakland anymore. They don't have a team. They don't have a city. They're not Las Vegas yet. They're playing in a minor league field in Sacramento.
Oh.
Yeah,
so are they getting bought by another city right now, or are there deals?
No, they want to move to Vegas like everybody else, but yeah, they're trying to follow the Raiders.
The only reason, we watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay shows, and he's got 4 or 5 restaurants over there, so that's the only reason I pay attention to Vegas. But anyways, well, welcome. So Chris, for those of you who don't know, Chris is my brother-in-law and has been for a long time. You took me to one of my very first Hurricanes games when you were courting my sister years ago.
Man, you remember what happened that year, right?
Was that 2006?
That was 2006.
Holy crap. I didn't realize I saw the Stanley Cup winning team. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Okay.
You're welcome.
Dang.
And do you remember who gave us the tickets?
Wasn't it your company?
It was me.
No, it was not you. It was the owner's son of the Hurricanes. So
really? Wow. Okay. I did not piece all that together. Okay. That's crazy. Well, hopefully we get that again this year. That is why, why my dad is not here tonight is he and my mom are at the Hurricanes versus Capitals game right now in Raleigh. And it looks like I think the Hurricanes are going to make it a 3-1 series against the Caps. But really quick, Ryan, you are friend of the pod now, friend of Chris. But anything else we need to introduce you with before we get going here? You're a Pistons fan?
I think the qualification of a someone that's really into sports, that they had to have gone a couple of seasons, a couple of years of kind of true hardship, and I feel like I meet that qualification. You'll talk to your Lakers people, your Boston people, and those qualifications, I don't know if they're quite as deep as some of our long suffering sport franchises, which I do consider myself a part of. So qualified, I think.
It means a lot if you can stick with a team through thick and thin. So I respect that. Okay, well, let's get into it. I know we said we keep this to a mini episode. So today we are talking NBA because Dad does not like talking about that very much. He just doesn't keep up with it. He's not super interested in it, as we've talked about on the podcast before. And so this is a perfect week while Dad's away to bring in the cool guys and talk some basketball. So So I had asked you guys before you came on, just what is in the discourse right now? I know the playoffs are going on, but I'm hearing stuff about a lottery. Anyways, I'm giving you too many hooks to bite onto here, but where should we start? Let's just with getting into what people are talking about with basketball right now?
I would say the first thing, especially for this season, is that in the regular season, there's been a really big through line on TV ratings are down. No one's watching the NBA. We're scoring too many points. There's too many 3-pointers going up. The game isn't very fun to watch. And I think one of the biggest things is that in these playoffs, we're in the second round right now, I think the basketball's been great. Regular season, you're used to seeing games 130 to 120, 110 points per team. And these playoffs, we're seeing down to like 97 to 89, really low scoring defensive games. So a lot of those people that are kind of, really criticizing the league in the regular season, which I do think is valid, these playoffs have really kind of not took us back to an older generation of basketball, because the three-pointer is still, a really big part of that. But it's pretty gritty basketball so far in these first two series.
Okay.
I think that's the basketball everybody wants to see, man. Like, I agree, Ryan. Like I don't know. I don't know anybody that watches besides you the NBA on a regular basis. Like, if there's a big game between Boston and LA, and even that's lost its luster. LA's not great right now, right? But something like that. Outside of that, I don't know anybody that's watching basketball outside of Christmas Day. Like, that's the NBA's one big holiday is Christmas Day, and that's at the beginning of the season, and then they just kind of hold on until after March Madness, and then they start the playoffs. So
what makes it so boring to watch? I guess my dad has talked about this with just like a lot of 3-pointers, and not like he's talked about like the flopping and like they don't let the defense go really hard and stuff. Is that what you mean by gritty? Is they're kind of letting the boys play a little bit right now?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. The referees kind of swallow their whistles a little bit more in the playoffs. The NBA has gone through a lot of different eras, and I think we're coming out of the analytic era. The analytic era really is defined as like the numbers say shoot as many 3-pointers as possible. The numbers say like this shot that a Kobe Bryant would have taken X amount of feet away from the basket, it's not worth it. Either dunk the ball, score in transition, or shoot a 3-pointer. So that's kind of really changed the way the game is played, and everyone is doing it. Everybody's doing it. So I think a lot of the games are the same. There's not a lot of defense. The regular season doesn't quite mean as much as it used to because of that potentially. But yeah, the playoffs, everybody kind of knuckles down, and it kind of comes back to that really defensive, handsy, a lot of no calls. Stuff in the regular season that definitely would have been called. I think these games have been great, both in round one and round two. We're used to seeing a lot of blowouts, a lot of people not even coming close. We've seen some close series and some really physical series as well. So it's been really fun basketball to watch.
It's always nice to see some handsy basketball going down. Well, so that's weird. So they literally just the refs are chilling out and letting the boys play, like literally just because it's playoff season, or like because they know it gets numbers up, or what?
Yeah, maybe it's ratings, maybe it's the amount of people watching. I think it's also just letting the players dictate the outcomes of the games a little bit more. It matters more, right? The playoffs is best to 7 each round. So, take the Pistons for an example. There's 2 games against the New York Knicks for the first round that came down to a call being made or a call being missed. As a Pistons fan, I felt like it went against our way because the whistle wasn't blown. But then again, the entire rest of the game, it wasn't blown. So it's kind of hard to say, well, now you should blow it. So in that case, the Pistons lost that game because the ref said, hey, we're playing basketball. Yeah, you got nudged a little bit, but make your shots, So it's fun. We're on the losing end of that one, but I think it's been great.
Yeah, and I think people know that that's coming too, right? Like, you hear, like, this is playoff basketball. Like, players know they're going to complain because they want to try and get their calls. But I think you go into it knowing that this is going to be a little bit more physical. We do actually need to play defense, and so that's why some teams, I feel like you can see that maybe they're not as high of a seed as somebody else, but they play a type of offense or they run a system that works really well in playoff basketball. So.
Weird. That's so weird. I mean, it seems frustrating to practice a whole season to play a whole season like regular, like you're flopping around, you're being a diva and a drama queen, and then you go to the playoffs and your team or your system isn't fit for that.
Yeah, but I mean, you see the opposite of that too, right, Ryan? Like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there's definitely teams that are like regular season teams, and they're these basically just like a giant red balloon. But then when it comes playoff time, they don't have the muscle or the grit to be able to win a series because they don't play defense. They don't know how to go to the hole and take a hit without, missing their shot, kind of thing.
Weird.
So
Yeah, I mean the Cavaliers in Cleveland, right? I think they are coming out as more of a regular season team. They were down by 40 points at halftime last night. Crazy stuff. You wouldn't think that's going to happen, and then they just crumple under the pressure of the Indianapolis Pacers. Speaking of floppers, again, as a upset Pistons fan, the New York Knicks playing the Boston Celtics, the biggest flopper in the playoffs currently right now, Jalen Brunson in New York. This guy throwing his head back every time, just kicking his legs out so he gets hit on a shot. One of the biggest floppers in the league right now. They're up 2-1 on the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. But Jalen Brunson, if you want to put up a dartboard, it's a good person to throw up on the dartboard. Okay. As the face of flopping in the league for the playoffs right now, at least.
And Ryan's not biased about that at all.
I'm not. No, I am. I am very much biased against Jalen Brunson.
As my father-in-law says,
good series.
Yeah, as my father-in-law says, it sounds like someone went to drama camp. So yeah, he sounds pretty dramatic over there on the court.
SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I think is another one who is in the running for MVP this year. Someone who leans a little bit more that way. James Harden kind of figured this out a couple of years ago where they really leaned into fouls are a part of the game. I'm going to go hunting for fouls, and if I can do it better than you can, I deserve the reward, right? So some of these guys in the camp are still floating around in the playoffs, and power to them. I think it does. It's not a great product for the fans watching, but if you're on the court and trying to survive and advance, maybe you can't blame them. So,
right, interesting. Yeah, I mean, difference between hockey obviously is you still have people getting absolutely pummeled against the glass, and they are getting less rough in hockey too. But it seems like the fans. What do you call them? Fandoms? What do you call a fan base? The fan bases.
Fan base, I think is
That's yeah. So the fan base of hockey teams seem to be growing, and it sounds like basketball is kind of shrinking. And I wonder if we have this primal hunger right now for aggression. We're all mad at the world, and we want to see some people get beat up a little bit. Yeah. Anyways,
even as we talk about it, this is very like getting older white dude coded, right? Like Steph Curry is the face of the league, just shooting every shot from as far back as he can possibly get it. And he's the one, kind of the face. So, I think there's different camps and different schools on what you want to see. But playoff basketball, Steph Curry is definitely working through a little bit harder screens to get those shots off as the refs kind of let it go.
So conservatives like layups and liberals like 3-pointers? Is that what we're saying?
Exactly. That's exactly. Conservatives love an elbow jumper, with 1 second left in the shot clock. The other camp might like a half-court 3-pointer with 23 seconds left in the shot clock for sure. You could probably draw some lines there.
Amazing. Well, hopefully we can all come together despite our differences. But okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm leading you. I know I'm being really distracting. So I know you had some talking points, Ryan. So I'll let you kind of lead the way for this next little bit and kind of tell us what are some of the main things I need to know going to the water cooler at work tomorrow?
Yeah, so I think some really good water cooler stuff. I think maybe we're a couple of days removed, but it's important to know, right? So one of the biggest trades, and maybe you've talked about this previously, was the Luka Doncic trade over to the Lakers, right? This generational talent, cast away by his franchise and scooped up into the arms of LeBron James. They lost in the first round. So that talent didn't kind of translate to them progressing in the playoffs.
Crazy.
A lot of discourse about Luka not quite being in playoff basketball shape.
Oh,
a little bit of chunk
like
to him.
pudgy? Oh,
a little bit of chunk to him, which a lot of people are saying is why he got cast out of Dallas there.
He was just pounding Twinkies in the locker room before every game.
There's a really good clip of, I think in the last year's playoffs, he's holding an adult beverage, and one of the staff on the Dallas Mavericks just takes it out of his hand, says, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't be using those calories, my friend." So that clip made a lot of rounds, kind of like, oh my gosh, is this one of the reasons? So maybe they do better next year, but the chunk of Luka, a lot of talk going on with Dallas.
Yeah, all he needs to do is win, right? Like, if you think about it, who is the president of the NBA Dad Bod Club? Like, who is it, Ryan? Would you say that it's Nikola Jokic?
The horse master himself. I would think so. Yeah.
Right. And so, but that dude, I don't know all of Luka's stats and like all the awards he's won, but Jokic has won at least 3 MVPs. And then once he won the NBA championship, nobody says anything about what his shape is anymore, right? Like, because he's getting it done. That's all Luka needs to do. He's got to go win it. And I don't ever want to see the Lakers ever win another game, let alone a championship. So,
whoa,
I don't know.
Dang, aren't you like from California, Chris? You're at least from the West Coast.
Yeah, but I grew up a Trailblazers fan, so they've ripped our hearts out enough.
Well, interesting. Okay, yeah, we did talk about Doncic a few episodes ago, and I understand that was like, people said it was like the worst trade in sports history and stuff like that. So interesting to hear that maybe Dallas was onto something. But yeah,
the NBA draft, the lottery, has actually just happened the day that we're recording. Cooper, if maybe you're not familiar, I think the lottery works pretty similar in a lot of sports, but in the NBA, the worst 14 teams kind of get some ping pong balls, and the worse you are, the higher the chance that you have the number 1 draft pick.
The more ping pong balls you get.
14 teams, that's like half the league. That
it's everybody who doesn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so
the lower half of the league. Go ahead.
Yeah, depending on how bad you are, you have a higher chance of winning. It's like in Mario Party. If you have the fewest stars, you have a chance of getting that in the mystery box or whatever, getting a star.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Great parallel, Cooper.
so the Utah Jazz, right? They had no stars in the mystery box, right? They are in last place, trying to get to first place as quickly as possible.
They're taking hard.
I think them, the Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets had the best odds to get the number 1 draft pick. There's a lot of tin foil hat theories with the NBA draft, right? The league doesn't want their stars playing in Salt Lake. And that's, in smaller markets, right? These smaller markets have a really hard time winning these draft picks. Luka Doncic gets traded away from Dallas. Utah has the number 1 chance to draft the number 1 player next year. Lo and behold, the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 draft pick this year.
Shoot.
So there's going to be a lot of discourse around that, right? So as a Pistons fan, it happens all the time. We had the number 1 draft odds for 2 years ago with Victor Wembanyama, this generational talent. We had the best odds to get him, and we dropped all the way down to the 5th pick. Didn't even have a chance for it, right? So that's what you're going to hear a lot of the Jazz fans. We had the best odds, and of course we're a small market team, and we're going to lose out. And Dallas and LA and Boston and all these teams with the bigger market share, more money in these different cities. These are where these generational talents go. Patrick Ewing is the biggest example of this. Coming out of Georgetown, the tinfoil there is that the envelope was frozen. So David Stern, when he reached his hand in to pick out the envelope that year, he would be able to tell which one was which to make sure that Ewing went to New York. as opposed to whatever team it was. So a lot of tinfoil hat. Doncic gets booted out of Dallas. They say, hey, we need somebody in Dallas. They rise to the number 1 pick. Could be. Who knows?
That's so weird. That's crazy to think that. Like, I get comparing Salt Lake to like LA or New York or Boston, calling it a smaller market, but like to say that Dallas is like a big market compared to, I don't know. I guess I don't know my geography too well, but
yeah, I mean, well,
Dallas is a pretty big market.
Yeah. Bigger than, I mean, Utah has some crazy sports nuts, and it's like a very full valley, couple valleys right around Salt
Utah
Lake.
is historically shafted when it comes to the NBA. You have a quote a couple years ago of LeBron saying, NBA Jam, no one's picking Utah. It doesn't matter that Stockton and Malone are, number 1 in assists, number 1 in points. It doesn't matter. No one's picking Utah. So, you're going to hear that from the fans here for sure.
Dang.
But Cooper, to take the tinfoil hat just one level further, right? What the NBA could be setting up, right? And I know you've talked about this, is BYU has a projected lottery pick going to their school currently right now, right? Who's going to be a one and done player. And so in some of the thing is like maybe the NBA is setting it up so that the Jazz, if they tank again, can draft AJ Debinsa at number 1.
Okay.
Right?
So they're hoping
Cooper, this is a BYU apologist speaking. Right now.
No,
and this is sports, right? This is sports. It's what it is, right? We're all apologists. You're an apologist for I'm a Lakers fan and we always win. I'm a Patriots fan. We have this dynasty, or you're the other way. We never win, right? So that's an apologist talking right there. That's not
100%.
No way.
But maybe he'll fall just in love enough with Utah, looking up at Provo Canyon and driving down the I-15, that he'll want to stay in Utah for the Jazz when he goes to the NBA. But do you have much of it? I guess you don't have much of a choice as a player, because you're literally just being picked by a team at that point, right?
Right.
Once you go to the NBA.
Yeah, I think you have some sway, right? Some people drag their feet in a workout or don't do particularly well in interviews. I think Shadur Sanders, right, is a big example of this in the football world, to where kind of dragged his feet on a couple of things and maybe his draft stock fell. So, but you're right, they don't really have a say.
Interesting.
Okay, they take you, they take you.
Well, shows my my sports IQ there, but. Yeah, well, what I know, I promise I want to make you go much longer than this tonight. You guys have been an incredible sub team so far. My dad's gonna be worried that I'm gonna keep you on permanently. So, but what I know you had some good stuff. What else do we need to talk about before we head out for the week?
You're talking about broadcasting, Ryan?
Some rapid fire things, right? Steph Curry, probably the face of the league, hamstring, injured, out. That's a big one.
Shoot.
I don't think there's a lot of faith that even if he was in, that they would advance, but with him out, those odds go down pretty far. Well, you know what? This is. I want to give you a level 2 water cooler. Maybe we can end on this, right? For the NBA, what are the nerds talking about? What are the nerds talking about? And
like basketball nerds.
What are the basketball nerds talking about? And now we're talking media rights. Okay. So who's in charge of broadcasting the NBA? You can drop this in the water cooler. I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Okay.
Roundball Rock. Okay?
Oh, I know that.
Roundball Rock was the theme of the NBA when NBC had the broadcast rights. I'm very excited about this. This is the best sport. Think of Monday Night Football. Think of, Monday Night Football, I think, is the biggest one, but Roundball Rock, the premier, the best sports song. It's been gone for a long time. NBC lost those broadcasting rights, right? This was a really, back when like Jordan was playing. And NBC is picking that back up starting next year. They won those TV rights. They're going to be one of the exclusive partners with ESPN and a couple of these other guys.
So Roundball Rock is coming back with it?
It's coming back. It is going to be back. And we are excited.
Well, and I saw you put in your notes a sketch from SNL, which I showed my dad months ago for his first time. And so, long-time listeners, you'll be familiar with that sketch that we watched on the podcast. But yeah, with Tim Robinson and Jason Sudeikis, right, on SNL.
Yeah, it's
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna Chris.
shoot it. And the words, right? Tim Robbins, I don't think will be part of the broadcast team, but the music and the sound. Who will be broadcasting? And this is new news as of when we're recording
Today.
earlier today, at least. That the GOAT, the great one, Michael Jordan, is supposed to be part of that NBC broadcast team.
Whoa.
Which I have mixed thoughts about, right? We just had Tom Brady start announcing in the NFL to pretty mixed reviews, kind of just rambling, not really super focused, but didn't get the best grade as like a first-time announcer. Yeah. I don't know if Michael Jordan has, had that kind of free-flowing interview, right? You think of the documentary, The Last Dance, very polished, taken care of. I wonder when the last time we've heard Jordan talk this freely and openly at all recently. I mean, I don't know. I don't follow enough, but so I'm really interested to see how that goes, what capacity he's speaking. But it's awesome to have Jordan back in basketball a little closer.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of just been kicking back, running his business empire, making money off his shoes and stuff for so many years. I mean, maybe golfing, right? I mean, maybe he's just getting bored. He needs something to do, or what's the incentive?
He was running the Charlotte Hornets for a while to really, really poor results there as well. So the fact that he's going to be in a broadcast chair or an interview or whatever, I don't know if we have the exact details on what he's going to be doing. I don't think he's going to be a color commentator or like a play-by-play guy, but exciting that the announcement's there regardless, though.
Crazy.
I think it's supposed to be more like the inside the NBA, right? I think that's my understanding. I haven't read a ton about it. Like I just saw the big headlines saying, hey, he's going to be doing like commentary, but I don't think it's going to be sideline stuff. So
yeah, it's like how they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back for these next Avenger movies. It sounds like it's like a desperate attempt to try to get people to watch basketball again. It sounds like.
Yeah. You should ask Ryan about Avengers movies, man. Ryan loves the Avengers.
Thunderbolts was fine. It was okay. Yeah. We're cooking a little bit. We're doing all right.
I heard people were like, "Oh yeah, Marvel can make a good movie if they want to," but I don't know. But I heard it was like middling a little bit. I don't know. This isn't a movie podcast, but.
No, we're turning real quick. Yeah. But no, Jordan talking about basketball. Let's hear it. It's been a while.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, great. Let me see. I used to do this with my dad at the beginning of the podcast, but let's see if I can go back and remember all the things you taught me so that I can take it into my social circles this week. So, Pistons still aren't very good, but we kind of like, they're growing on me. My dad sold me on the Detroit Lions doing this podcast.
Oh yeah.
So I think I can just get into Detroit teams in general. They seem gritty and cool.
And the Tigers are
gritty's a good word.
The Tigers are destroying their league in baseball as well. It's a good time. I don't know that the car plants are opening back up, but the sports teams are mildly trending upwards. So it's a good time to join.
Yeah, it's like buy low, sell high. So get into Detroit now while it's still a little low.
Can't go wrong.
Right. Okay, I'm in. And then we talked. I'm missing some stuff, but we talked about how the Lakers fell out in round one, even though they had like top talent ever. So kind of crazy how their team couldn't come together. The lottery is rigged. We're definitely conspiracy theorists. That's the official SportSense take on this podcast. They froze the envelope and pretended to choose. I can't remember what team got the lottery pick. What did you say?
Patrick Ewing for the Knicks.
Patrick Ewing.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Let's pause on that because I thought Cooper Flagg was going to be the number one pick for sure. Just based on our
Patrick Ewing was Patrick Ewing was drafted in 1983 or so. So this is an older example.
You're talking about the old freeze the envelope theory.
This is
like
an
the
older
first,
example.
yeah.
You're right.
Okay. So who got picked today for the number one pick?
So nobody got picked.
Oh, okay.
They just found out where they're going to be drafting.
So who got the lottery pick though today?
Dallas.
Dallas right.
Got the number one pick
because we talked about how they got rid of Luka.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of sussy that they got the lottery.
Jazz fell all the way down to number 5. So depending on the different year, right? Like once you get to a certain point in the first round of the draft, once you get usually past, I'd say 5 or 6, you're just drafting bench players at that point. Like when you're in the top of the lottery, you're hoping like day one starters. And then like the second half of the lottery and others than that, you're looking for like guys who can bloom into starters in the next couple of years.
Wow. That's crazy that the talent goes down that fast, like that soon down the list, but that's cool. I mean, I guess like you said, you see that they're investment opportunities and will blossom, as you say. That's a beautiful way to put it. Okay. Well, if I can remember one more talking point, it is that, we talked about the media rights. We're going back to NBC. NBA's going back to NBC. We're getting Roundball Rock again. And then Michael Jordan's coming back as in some sort of role. Dr. Doom. He's coming back to. They're going to write him in somehow. Cool. Well, thanks so much. That honestly helps like so much because, I mean, yeah, it sounds like viewership with the NBA is going down anyway, but for me especially, I have just felt like I literally have known nothing for like the past 5+ years. So thanks for getting me a little bit caught up, and we'll have to do this again. Just for general announcement for the listeners, how much longer are the NBA playoffs going on? And who do you think is going to win? Let's get a couple predictions here.
They usually go into June. So round 2 here. Winners of this round will go to the conference finals. Winners of the conference finals will go East versus West. It's hard to say. I would love to see the Indiana Pacers. I would love to see an upset and have the Indiana Pacers in the championship. And then I think we'd be hard-pressed if the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't make it there. Now, that's 2 young teams. It's a pretty tough prediction. Well, that's what I'm hoping for. I want all these legacy teams out of here. Give me the young bloods. Let's play some basketball.
Say, Ryan, those are going to be my 2 picks also, because I also love it because all I can hear in my head is Colin Cowherd talking about how bad viewership's going to be having Indiana and Oklahoma City playing like these 2 small market teams, right? Fighting for a championship. He's like, nobody's going to watch this. This doesn't help ratings. We need the Lakers and the Celtics. But yeah, I think I like both of those teams.
But Americans love an underdog story. So
to a point, yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, only about 1.3 million people per game, diminishing returns. So yeah.
Okay, so if it's Pacers versus Thunder, you want Pacers to win, Ryan?
That's what I'd pull for. I want the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who more Midwestish with the Detroit, I think I'd root for them. But I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder would edge them out. I think their star SGA would be a little too much for Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana there.
Whoever those guys are. But
whoever.
Pride of Canada, man.
Yeah. Oh, really? A Canadian player?
SGA, yeah, he's Canadian.
So yeah, you mentioned Ryan SGA earlier in the episode. So I guess if people have a good memory, they'll remember who that is by this point in the episode. Cool. Well, my dad will like to hear that because he said it's risky, but he's also picking the Thunder as the winners of this year's tournament. So we will have to see. For now, I'll let you guys go. I really want to hang on to you because you guys are so cool and this was so fun. But if you made it this far in the episode, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry again, you didn't get any good old-fashioned old white man Southern accent tonight. But come back next week, and we're going to do our NHL goalie bracket and try to figure out who's going to win the Stanley Cups based off how cool their helmets are. Okay. with that, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, what else? TikTok, and give us a follow on your podcast platform of choice if you haven't already. Ryan, Chris, thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
Later.
Sports Sense.